Teleconsultation Best Practices and Tips for New Users. A presentation by Dr. Alan Tay for Dobbs. Teleconsultation is only one aspect of telemedicine. Teleconsultation is remote consultation using communication tools, such as the telephone, text messaging, and video consultation. Identification is of utmost importance. Make sure you are engaging with patients whom you have properly identified. For example, using a teleconsultation system that has a registration process, or video consultation, where you can visually identify the patient. If there is any doubt, identification can be further verified visually by a show of IDs. Informed consent. Ensure that you have taken informed consent for telemedicine. Informed consent should include the limitations of teleconsultation. A sample consent form is available in the description of this video. Indemnity. Ensure that your medical indemnity covers teleconsultation. For example, MPS has confirmed that they do cover teleconsultation, and you do not need to inform them. Some others may cover but require you to inform them. Regulations. We should, at all times, comply with local regulations regarding telemedicine. The current situation is in a state of flux. The Telemedicine Act of 1997 has not been enforced since its inception, and is in the process of being replaced. In the meantime, the MMC has recently issued an advisory, the link to which is available in the video description. New or follow-up patients? The MMC has stated in its advisory that teleconsultation should be for follow-up patients only. However, they say medical advice is permissible for new patients. My take is that what constitutes medical advice is rather vague. Schedule the visit. Do allocate time for teleconsultation? Unless you are doing teleconsultation full-time, ad hoc teleconsultation sessions can be quite disruptive. Appointments will make your life easier. EMR availability. It is absolutely vital to have records of the patient available to you at the time of the teleconsultation. Unless you have a photographic memory, do not try to use recall alone. In this respect, EMRs are better than paper records, especially if cloud-based, and these can be accessed remotely as long as you have an internet connection. Document the encounter. It makes good medical practice to document your teleconsultation thoroughly, just like you would for a normal clinic visit. The MPS has advised that you do not have to make a recording. Deferring to a physical visit. The threshold for deferring the patient to a physical visit should be low. Whenever you feel it necessary, for example when you are unable to adequately examine the patient and you feel that examination is vital, you should advise your patient to come to the clinic. The urgency would be a clinical assessment, and it may be necessary to defer to a visit to the emergency room. You could also use the "if not better, come to the clinic" clause as part of your advice to your patient. Gray areas and areas of caution. For overseas patients, you may be dealing with cross-border regulations, but generally regulations apply to the country of origin where the doctor is conducting the teleconsultation. As mentioned earlier, the MMC does not officially condone first consultations via telemedicine, so be mindful of this. The fee schedule does not also specify the quantum of fees or charges for teleconsultation, so it is advisable to stick with the rates allowable under normal consultation. For electronic prescriptions, it probably is wise to stick to non-DDA drugs, for example repeat prescriptions for chronic illnesses like diabetes and hypertension should be fine. Which telemedicine platform should you use? Part 1. Things to consider include compliance, whether or not the system is compliant with the current regulations. Security. Is the system sufficiently secure? Ease of use. Is the system easy to use for both the patient and doctor? Business model. What business model does the platform use? Is it free? This usually means a percentage is taken for management fees, versus a subscription-based system. Which telemedicine platform should you use? Part 2. Consider also if the system has a built-in appointment system for teleconsultation. If not, then you have to be prepared to use a third-party appointment system. What features does the system have? Does it support text messaging? This is useful especially when you need to spell things out, which often is the case in medicine when dealing with medical terms. Does it support video teleconsultation? This is important if you require a virtual face-to-face teleconsultation. Does it have file transfer facilities? Again, another feature very useful for uploading and downloading reports securely. Does it have screen sharing? You might need this as it can come in handy when explaining things to patients. Do you need single or multiple participants in the video consultation? The latter might be useful for instance in family or group counseling. Can you keep medical notes? This is probably not important as you should be using a proper medical record system, but the ability to make short notes would be useful for future recall. Lastly, electronic prescription and laboratory test ordering would be useful complements to any telemedicine system. Which telemedicine platform should you use? Part 3. For group and hospital practice, you probably will be using corporate or business telemedicine solutions provided by the organization. For individuals doctors, I suggest using one of the following systems. Teleme.co. This is free for doctors to sign up and use. You can set fees for text messaging and video consultation, which are built into the system. Teleme will take a percentage of the fees. Doxy.me is a web-based video teleconsultation service. The basic use is free. Subscribers get additional features such as password protection, scheduling, SMS notification and group calls. If you require a third-party appointment system, you can check out setmore.com. The basic use of Setmore is free. For independent billing, you can check out stripe.com. It is supported in Malaysia and I find it easier to use than PayPal. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope this little presentation will help you in your telemedicine journey.